talking about mobile apps and really how we use them. Not sure what that was. Anyway, talk about mobile apps and how we use them in our daily lives. And I'm going to go through some things this morning dealing with really mobile app design. We're going to talk a little bit about integration, and I'll go through some of those points in a minute. But I kind of wanted to get you thinking a little bit about how you use your mobile devices. A lot of you here probably today have iPads. Some of you may have smartphones. Probably a lot of you have smartphones. And how do you use those devices? And all of a sudden, they become very entrenched in our day-to-day lives. Last year at this eBiz forum, a little story to tell, had actually brought my wife with me. We were celebrating our 26th wedding anniversary. So she came with me. We went to it was in St. Louis. We actually broke away from the conference one day and went over. Okay. Sure what's going on here? Over here. Where's that tech guy?
Yeah, we're going to grab him.
I'm not sure what's going on with this. Anyway, while they're fixing it, I'll move on. So I can talk for a couple of minutes. Maybe we'll get this correctly. So we were at the eBiz forum last year. I got a teenage son. At the time he was 15, and get this frantic call from him while we're there. And we'd gone out to the arch, and he had a girlfriend, different girlfriend now at the time, but you know, they go through them really fast. And so we get this call from him. We're at the foot of the arch, and he said, "Hey, Dad." Actually, he called and talked to his mom because it involved spending money. If you wouldn't go very far with me. He said, "Hey, Dad." He said, "Let me talk to Mom," and I gave the phone to his mom. He said, "Hey," he said, "I found this necklace I want to get his girlfriend." And he said, "I found it online," and he said, "I want y'all to buy it right now and have it shipped to the house because I got to have it Friday morning." And so I think it was Wednesday or something like that. He said, "If y'all buy it in time and do the rush shipping, you can get it there." And I said, "Well, you know, what do you mean?" And he says, "Well, I got to have it." And so we were sitting there, and I said, "Well, why don't you just go to the store? I mean, it's a big box chain. It was you've got a Belk in your area. Just go. I mean, get your grandparents and y'all go to town and you buy it." We didn't want to do that. As it ended up, as we sat at the foot of the arch, I got my iPad out, and we got online, and he even had the part number. We pulled it up, and I got out the credit card. My wife placed the order. We had it shipped overnight to get to our house for Friday morning so he could take it and give it to his girlfriend, which is now traded in for another. And so all that went to waste. But we spent $70, whatever it was, and we bought it. We bought it at the foot of the arch using my iPad. So all of a sudden, I'm buying, I'm not going to the store. I'm using this in everyday life. If I fast forward a little bit to this spring, started building a pool house. And there's a long story on that. I won't go into all of this. But there again, I'm a little type man. I don't like to spend money, so I'm going to do all this myself. So I've already done a couple of big projects, but this one's really big. It's about 1,100 square feet, and it's basically a full house. So I'm going to do this thing, but all of a sudden I begin to use my mobile device to actually build my pool house. So I know, there's some things I know about. If you're building a wall, typically you do it on 16-inch centers on your studs. If you didn't know that, you can take that back with you from this mobile app presentation, but it is 16-inch. I knew that, but there were certain things I didn't know. What I found myself doing was I would take my iPad out to the pool house, and I would Google what I was trying to do. I'd get the instructions, and I would sit there a little bit, and I would read and figure out how to go about and how to do it. You'll come rescue me here because the story's starting to run out. But anyway, So we would begin to, I would look for instructions on how to do something. It looks like we got a battery issue. I got my laptop if we need it. So, anyway, I would look for instructions on how to do things. So all of a sudden, this iPad is becoming my tutor out there. Now, I've got my son that's helping me. My son now is 16. You know how that goes. 16-year-old son really helping you. What good is he? But had him helping me. Also, I went and hired a couple more teenage boys helping me along the way. Well, these guys, I mean, you know, when you take a break, every one of them's grabbed up that phone and here they go. You know, they're just tearing it up. Well, I'm over here, and so sometimes I would make them come and watch a video. This is what we're about to do. You know, they're like, really? Well, yeah, really. I don't know how to do it. We want to learn together. So we would take this advice, and then as time kind of went on, you know, we would go out shopping, or my wife would have to buy supplies. And she says, well, I want this and I want this. If you go look on my iPhone, and I won't go through this, but if you go look through on my iPhone, you would notice there's probably 100 pictures related to my pool house. And we would go through there, and we would take, she says, I want this oven in range. And I'd take the picture. And I want this over the microwave that goes over this range, and I want this refrigerator, and I want this. And, you know, now I bought all my light fixtures at Mayor Electric Supply, and guess what? They were back ordered for 6 weeks, and it delayed my project. But we won't go there, and we'll go activate it. We'll figure it out. My own company delayed me 3 weeks of completion. I won't go no mad about it still. I got mad thinking about it. But so anyway, so we took pictures of everything that we went through, because I'm thinking ahead a little bit. I'm going to use my mobile devices. It'll make sense here in a minute. So I've got all these pictures on my device. I would make material lists. You know, I'd make these material lists out and of things that I needed. So I would go to the big box retailer, happens to be Lowe's. Nothing bad I can say about them. And I would go and I know what I'm looking for. Then all of a sudden I begin to think, well, you know, I'm a local guy, building supply down the street. Let's talk to him. Let's go and let's negotiate price. Because I'm at Lowe's, so I go into the local home building supply, I got my material list, and as I bring it up on my smartphone, I'm looking at the price at Lowe's, and I said, what can you do? Well, I can do this. Plus, I'll deliver it free. Okay, well, good. I'm saving more money. So I made another decision. I'm using my mobile devices as I'm out there. Then I got a little bit smarter as the project goes on. This project really started the 1st of June. And the plan is, if I get home in time tonight, well, not tonight because we don't get home at 10 o'clock, but if I get tomorrow and Saturday or the weekend, I'm going to probably finish up. But anyway, so as I go on, I get a little bit smarter because I get up early on the weekends, 6 o'clock. Sometimes I get up at 5:30 to go work at my pool house. And my wife, and she likes to sleep, and she'd sleep whenever if I just let her. But so I go out there, and then I begin to use my iPad to. They've got to a certain point in the project. There's some things that's just easier to buy from Lowe's or whoever, and I'd go and I didn't want to take the time to run in to town to buy those. I live out in the country, okay, so I give you that. So I say town. You guys live in the city, you don't think anything about it. But for me, if I got where I live out in the country, it's a 10 to 15 mile drive back to Lowe's. It's not like you just run down the street. So I would use my device. I got on there, and I'd actually find what I would want, drop it in the shopping cart, actually pay for it, and have it all ready. And my wife would come in, jogging. She'd come walking out there. How's it going? I said, fine. Put on a ball cap, and I didn't want to take the time for her to actually have to get ready and do her hair and all that other crap because I needed it now. I said, go to Lowe's. It's all ready, sitting there waiting on you to go pick it up and bring it back. So off she would go. She'd go. She'd grab the stuff. She'd come right back, using my mobile device again. Guess what I'm doing? I've got my son, which is not a lot of help, but I've got him and I've got my other teenage boys, they're helping me. They're working the whole time. The other times that I left them to go into town to buy the stuff myself and come back, what were they doing when I came back? They were all either in the pool or they were sitting out next to the pool waiting for me to come back because they wouldn't think far enough to go do the next thing. And my wife's still in the house asleep, so they keep them moving. But I kind of moved on. I said, okay, I've got my wife picking this up. I'm ordering this online. I'm keeping my job moving and still going. Using my mobile device again. Even used it to the point that I went and we got to a point within our let me tell this. We had some paint, and my wife was in town one day, and I sent her, picked up my device, and I took a picture of the can. I said, hey, you need to go buy a gallon of this while you're getting this. So she did. She brings it back. Again, I'm using my mobile device. So I'm inside I'm building this thing, and I put it up. Any of you know what I'm talking about? I say our drop ceiling, you know what I'm talking about? Drop ceiling with grid and all that. If you look around the room, this is not a drop ceiling also, but you want even spacing. You want it to look good. Do you know there's an app to do that? I found there's an app out there. You just pull it up, you go out to Armstrong, I'll just tell you where to go. Go to Armstrong, they got an app for that. Now listen, I've never in my life put up a drop ceiling. And so here I go, I punch it in, go find, I get my boys around me, we watch. Well, actually, a little bit back up there. I actually put it told me exactly what I needed to order for every single room. It gave me the materials list. How much to get? I took that same material list, I went and negotiated, I got my better price, did all of that. Came back, time to install, funny little story here. Usually I would try to do some of this at lunch, at the office. So when I'd get there, I'd act like I really knew what I was doing. But there was one particular day we did the very first room of that ceiling grid. And I got there and we watched the video, we were all sitting around. It was setting on scaffold. I had my iPad set up and watched the video. We all still kind of scratching our heads to be quite clear. We started on it. And after about 2 hours of taking stuff up and down, I looked at them and I said, all right, that's it. Y'all go home. It's 9 o'clock at night. We got to regroup on this. But then we came back and I figured it out the next day. And we actually, and I got pictures. Y'all want to see this thing that's done. You can see pictures. I got all the pictures. But we put this grid ceiling up. And our stuff looks really good. It's even on the sides. It's just, I can't believe I did it. I can't believe I did it. So, best compliment I was paid was about a week after I had it up, and I was out there working. I got an older brother. I got 2 brothers and a sister. We're all pretty competitive. We all always try to outdo each other. Just the typical sibling rivalry. My older brother comes over. He comes in and he says, hey, how did you get to do your drop ceiling, grid ceiling, what do you want? Hey, how did you get to do your drop ceiling? He said, I think I'm going to hire him out and do my basement. And I said, I did. And he said, no. And I said, yeah. And he said, how? And I said, well, I told him what I did. I'm using my mobile device. Well, did it save me money? I'm going to tell you what I think it saved me. I think when I built this pool house, which I'm going to finish for the next 2 weeks, I think it has saved me close to $30,000 on my little project. Now, I got a lot of sweat equity in that. You know what that is for the South? That's because it was blazing hot all summer, and I got cuts all over my hands. I installed all my lighting too, by the way, all of it. Did all my electrical work. There's things I couldn't figure out. I brought up here. I'd have diagrams, I'd read about it. Did all of my mobile app. I think I saved about $30,000. If I go back and figure, there's a lot of things I checked up. Drop ceiling, for example. Had a guy actually come out and give me a price. He wanted $6,500. You know what I bought the material for? $2,500. $4,000. So if I go back and I look at all the things where I actually saved because I did it myself with the guidance of this mobile device, the savings are significant. My point on this story is that think about it in the terms of your customers and the potential they have to save money. It's huge. It's out there. So you've got to think about how you want to use these devices. I can't. When we go through here today, I did want to make one statement. It's been said that Mayor has developed a mobile app. Some of you may or may not know me very well. I'm a pretty honest guy. I don't like to hide any facts. But the fact is, we're not live on a mobile app. I'm not where everything got off track. But we're not live. If you go out to the marketplace, Android, you can find it, you can download it, you can use it, but it's in a beta test form. If you go to the Apple Store, you actually won't find it there because we're going to deliver it in a different method from there. Why is it not ready? It's not ready because of data content quality. That's what we've been working on. That's the message of this whole. Really, I'm going to talk a lot about data content and quality there. What's held us back, actually eCatalog developed a mobile app. Did an outstanding job. They put it in my lap in April of 2012. We didn't market it because we were not ready for the data content. The quality wasn't where we wanted it. So that's what's held it back. So just so you'll know, you go out there and search for it. You can, yes?
Are you talking about the product information specifically?
Yes, product information. Product information. Product information. So you go out there and look for it. You can get it on the Android marketplace. So today, what time's left, I'm going to talk a little about mobile app design. We're going to get integration into your website, your ERP system. When the Carden gentleman did the acceptance speech for their award, what did he talk about? He mentioned their ERP system, talk about how important it was. I'm going to tell you, that's extremely important right there. Search capabilities are very important. Catalog functionality, what functionality does it have? Here's a question you need to ask yourself. Do you want to be in the mobile app development business? Think about it. Now, and we asked the same question for web development as we did for mobile app development. Do you want to be in that business? Mayor Electric decided we did not want to be in that business, and we partnered with eCatalog. And we've been extremely happy with that partnership that we have going. You have to ask yourself that question. Last but not least, we're going to talk a little bit about the data content quality, which is really what this is about and what's driving all of that. So a little bit about mobile app design. First thing up, do you want to do native app versus web app? Whether you do it yourself or you do it, you have someone else do it, you still need to ask yourself these questions. There's a lot of great white papers out there. You can go read, just go Google native versus web app, and you can find a ton of information. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but there's a ton of information out there about the pros and cons to each one. So you have to decide. And what you have to be careful about sometimes is, I think most of you know this, but if you go when you develop an app, you have to develop it for, let's say, the Android operating system and also iOS. You've got two different development efforts, two different fronts going on. Well, the web app development, especially on the native side, the web app side, you might get around that. So, but that's important. You kind of have two efforts ongoing at the same time. It's got to be user-friendly at the end of the day. It has to be really easy to use. These are concepts most of you probably know if you have an IT background, you went to college. These are some of the things that you probably just know right up front. But you have to walk yourself through it. The reason I told the story that I told up front about my son, and then I told the story about the pool house, was because as a CIO, it's my job to learn the job of the people that I'm trying to provide the application to. It's not their job to learn how IT works. It's my job to learn how they work. To listen to them and what they do. And so to do that, I try to actually think like them. I try to learn their job. As a CIO, it's not uncommon for me that I may go and spend time with the guy down in receiving. Because we're trying to do some process innovation there, I will spend time with them. because they know better than anybody else. It's just like what they was mentioning on one of the talks this morning. Have you asked your cashiers what may be best? So, it's simple things. These are really simple things. But it has to be user-friendly. Listen to your people. Think about how you use a mobile device. Because when we went about doing some of the things we do with our mobile apps, I begin to think about how I use it. Now, honestly, today, as I look at our customer base, as we're heavily contractor-based and not so much industrial in our business, as I look at that, well, some of those old guys, I hate to say old guys, but they're not too much interested in this. They're going to kind of just blow it off and say, I don't want to do that. But you know what? The guy that's coming along behind him, that's going to replace him, he expects it. He says, where's it at? I need it now. Let me tell you another story. This may be my last one, I don't know. I don't have a watch, so I'm okay. So y'all, if you want to ask a question, just feel free to ask me. But I'm going to tell you another story. So, Alabama, I got a southern accent, got that. Proud of it. Alabama football road time. We're heading there again this year. Well, usually I start out with that, but I thought it's such a diverse crowd that I'm not going to go there. I am glad the NFL routes are back. So, what was that? Oh. Well, we'll talk later, but you guys are having a bad year. I'm kind of happy. Anyway, no, we really want to see the SEC do well. But let's move on. Let's don't talk football. What was that? I was going to tell the story about Bubba. So, anybody know where Silicon, Alabama is at? I bet you do. Silicon, it's not much there, is there?
Not really.
No, not really. I imagine in 4 blocks here, in this area that we're in, there's more people than there are in Silicon right now. I guarantee you. So, go to Silicon, Alabama back last year. I guess it was this year. Back in the winter. Go do a branch visit. It's a small branch. Not a lot going on. So we go into the store, got Wes, our president's with me, and we go do a branch visit. This branch is so big, they've got 3 associates working there. 3. Count them, 3. You got a branch manager. You got 2 guys that work the counter. They also receive material. They do it all. There's 3 of them. Got a nice little store there. So we get there. Come to find out, they said, oh, y'all get here. Let's start our meeting about 4. We said, well, we can wait till 5 and they'll close. Oh, no, we close at 4. We didn't know that. But come to find out that at 3:30, and so we roll the streets up. And that's just saying we have in the South. In other words, they close everything at 3:30. It still happens in the South, trust me. So we get there about 3:30, and sure enough, 4 o'clock, they close the doors. So we're standing there. Customer comes up in an old beat-up white pickup. I can see him now. He gets out, and it's Bubba. He gets out, and he's got his chew in the back of his mouth, and his T-shirt's kind of ripped, and he's got pants on that are kind of low. And here he comes in. Knocks, and he just shakes on the door. And I said, oh, man, that's Bubba. Don't worry about him. We'll deal with him tomorrow. And Wes says, no, you've got to deal with him now. So Bubba comes in. They open the door and let Bubba in. So now they're going to over-service Bubba. Now, who delivered us to this branch, which was kind of funny, but it was the district manager who went with us. So they're going to impress Wes and I. So they got all 4 of these guys get around Bubba to find out what Bubba needs. Well, he's got, I don't know product, okay? And I've got a point on that in a minute. I don't know products. He's come in with some control. And he starts asking about it. And they say, oh yeah, we've got that in our, back in Birmingham, and we can have it here in the morning. And so they're looking it up, you know. And they said, yeah, well, we can have that here in the morning. It's going to cost this much. He said, well, I don't think I need the whole thing. And he's kind of moving around. He says, I think I just need this one part. Michael Lewis standing there. He said, oh, you can't take that thing apart. He says, oh, yeah, you can. He said, no. He said, yeah, give me that screwdriver. Let me show you. He takes this thing apart. It's got about 4 pieces to it. He says, you know what? He said, I think I just need this one. There's like a breaker or something in there. This is all I need right here. This is all I need. Really? They go looking, and sure enough, we sell that, and we actually have it in our Tuscaloosa. Yeah, I can still have it to you in the morning, I'll get it to you. What a product that was going to cost him, it was about $200-something. All of a sudden, He really just needed like a $25 component of that part. Okay, all right, fine. So now, our sales guy's deflated because his mission just went down. So I'm standing there, I said, Bubba, how did you know that? Did you just know that? No, man, look, I go to Granger, and I went to Granger, and I found this part on Granger. And then within Granger, I was able to bring up the spec sheet, and I saw then it told me that you could take it apart, how to take it apart. There was an installation, how to take it apart. And then it also told you can buy these individual components. And I found all that on Granger. Wow. Bubba went to Granger, y'all. Bubba went to Granger. And he says, now I'm here because, they want $40 for that. You're going to sell it to me for $25. But I got all my information from Granger. If Bubba's doing it, I'm telling you, everybody else is doing it. Get back to data quality content. Manufacturers, if you're in the room, if you haven't reached that gold platinum standard, you need to get there. Because we know Granger's kind of getting there on their own. But they're using it. They're building it. When they come to the branch, sometimes they're informed about what they're buying. Bubba was informed. Bubba bought it, and we got the sale. But he was informed. I don't want him going to Granger. I want him going to Mayor Electric. I want him out in the field with his iPad, looking it up on Mayor's mobile app and finding it, adding it to the shopping cart, and then knowing he can come in the morning and pick it up. Because what happened to Bubba? Bubba had to drive. He didn't have to drive far, trust me, to sell coffee. It was probably 5 miles at most. But he had to drive wherever he was at to get to the branch to went through the whole ordeal. But he could have done it on his mobile app, just as I did it when I bought stuff at Lowe's and went and picked it up. Hey, I want him to come there, and I want him to pick it up. That's what you need thinking about when it comes to mobile apps. Does it bring value to the customers? It's kind of what I spent some time talking about here. But build things that bring value to the customer. If I go out and look, there's really 3 initiatives here we've got going. And one is just anybody can download this Mayor mobile app, and you can find us and these kind of things. All that stuff's good, it's important. But then think about your customers that you're serving every day. What do they need? What brings them value? The only way you're going to find out is if you go out and ask them. You've got to spend time with them, you've got to talk to them. And you know what? It's probably not going to be the same for each one. The speaker this morning mentioned that Amazon has, 400 different websites. Is that, whatever number he said, it was up there pretty high. It hit me when I was sitting there. Everybody's different. You've got to go to find that, okay? You've got to go out there. So what's some things it could include? Finance, customers, local contact, branch, photos. I use photos, right now. Promotions, feedback, got to have access to your catalog. These are some things that you want in your mobile app. So we'll talk about content for a minute. Find us. So we come out, Jody, our e-business coordinator, is in here. And so on Tuesday, we had some time. Our plan was to actually go to that new location we purchased here in Dallas, and we was going to visit them. And I had some things come up, and schedule got changed, and we didn't get to go. Well, when I was planning on going, I thought, I got my mobile app. I pulled up my mobile app and I hit Find Us. The way it works for us, it uses the coordinates that are loaded in here, and it finds the closest Mayor Electric branch. You know what it displayed for me when I brought it up? Gulfport, Mississippi. And I'm standing in Dallas, Texas, with a branch about 15 miles down the road. I'm thinking, crap, what's going on? Then it hit me. Guess what? I didn't update the content. I had, it's a new branch. I hadn't moved it on. And so you got to keep your content. We talk about content from a product standpoint, but it's not only that content, it's other content in general that you have to keep. You have to keep up to date. You got to keep somebody on that. You got to have processes and procedures in place to do that. Moving on a little bit here to integration. One way I want you to think about these devices is that they're really just devices. We think about an iPad and wow, that's a great, and you almost get scared of it or whatever, it's a new tool. and smartphones and the things they can do, but they're really devices. How many of you do some type of warehouse management system, barcoding out in your warehouse? Yeah, a lot of you do. So you know that those devices that are out there are really just data collection devices, aren't they? With integration back to your ERP system, that's really all they're doing. It's data collection. Kind of think about this a little bit as data collection. It's really data sharing, because you're pushing information to the customer, and hopefully they're pushing the information back to you. So it becomes a two-way street. So these devices, think about them just as devices, not as some holy grail thing that's out there. Very important, integration into your ERP systems. I got a point here is that mobile apps are only as strong as your ERP system. I truly believe this. Because a lot of this stuff outside of your ERP system, everybody's doing. It's the things, it's that integration and that information you can push back to your customer that's in your ERP system, everybody's not able to do. Maybe everybody's not doing. You need to make your company stand out so they want to go use your mobile apps because they can get this information, whatever this information is. You need, if you're not thinking about it today, you need to be thinking about what are these things that are in my ERP system I need to deliver. What are they? I'm thinking about it every day. Go to bed at night, sometimes I think about it. How do I find out? I got to go visit that customer. We got to spend time. We got to understand the business. We got to understand what it is they need to deliver. So, if your ERP system, maybe with sous chef this morning mentioned that a lot of ERP systems don't have web development capabilities, open up to the web. It's a huge problem for you. Almost that's 101. You got to go back and figure out, will my ERP system allow integration into my mobile apps? And if they don't, how can I get around it? But if they do, then I've got to leverage that. So for me, this is very important. If you go back and look at some of the things we've done over the years, we really center almost everything around our ERP system. We run J.D. Edwards Oracle Enterprise 1 is the ERP system that we run. Very similar to Kirby Risk. It was a near-death experience that almost killed us, almost ran us out of business. 80-year-old company that almost put us out of business. We made it through it. If you fast forward to today, it's a very, very strong ERP system. We're very satisfied with the decision we made. We're able to be pretty agile, deliver information. I'm glad to say I don't recall a time that we've had to tell a supplier or a customer, no, we can't do that in our ERP system. Pretty flexible. Integration, your mobile app needs to integrate into your catalog. What prices are you showing? If you've got one, if you think about it, what price are you showing? Is it some, list price? Well, you know what? What did I say a few minutes ago about Bubba? I wanted Bubba to see Bubba's price. We want Bubba to see his price. So for us, we have integration back to our ERP system within our catalog to show the customer's price. My friend back here from Southwire, wire changes every day, doesn't it? Price changes every day. So, when he goes in to look at the wire he's getting ready to buy, as we're updating it in our ERP system, which is a lot of times on a daily basis or whatever, as that update's going on, which is all automated on our end as we work back and forth with Southwire and others. But as we want the customer to see what his price is based on the matrix that we have set up for him. To me, this is a key part. And then is your item availability, is it real time? I mean, is it just, this is an estimate from the weekend, or just what it was yesterday? But think about this changing. We might be able to get by with saying, this is what it was yesterday. But what's Grainger doing now? What is Grainger? I'll tell you what Grainger did this year. At the very beginning of this year, Grainger said normally ships in 1 to 2 days for products that they had somewhere in a location within the area they can ship it from. Or it normally ships in 2 to 3 business days, 4 to 5. They had a range. Today, if you go to Grainger and you pick a location, they'll tell you exactly how much is there and it'll ship today. So they put up the ante a little bit. So you got to think about, do you want to be able to show item availability in a real-time environment? That yes, I have that at my Birmingham location. I don't have it in Tuscaloosa, I have it in Birmingham, I can get it to you in the morning. We want to get that finite with it, to be able to tell them, okay, can't get it to you today, but I can have it to you first thing in the morning. Get here at 7 o'clock and guess what you got? And what we have done, because we're kind of trying to get ready for some of this, what we actually do on our end, and we've just done some recent things, is that we try to, our ERP system allows us to do a lot of automation on the receiving side and on the transfers, so that when our associates come in from these remote branches and the material got delivered that night, and that customer standing at the door, they just kind of hand it to them and walk out the door. There again, very important, back to your ERP system. It's all about the information and how you share it. Really everything I've been talking about here has to do with information. But it's all about that information, that data content, and how you share it. The one who's going to win, you've got to have the information back to your ERP system, but how can you share it? And can it be relevant and on time and get there the quickest? But I think the person who gets there the quickest is going to have a hands up. When I was doing my project, one thing I didn't mention was I needed dimensions on... I actually installed my own cabinets, okay? I didn't build them, but I purchased cabinets. Saved $3,000 for installing my own cabinets. I'm just telling you a little bits of information that has nothing to do with mobile app, but it's good for life. So, I saved $3,000 for installing my own cabinets. But you know what? You got to know, you got pieces going in here, you got a refrigerator going over here, you got an oven going in here. And guess what? If you're off by a quarter of an inch, you're hosed. But you know what I did? I had my mobile app up, and I was actually using Lowe's, and I'd go to Lowe's, I'd look at that oven, I'd go to the spec sheet, and it gave me the exact dimensions. Okay, here's what I need. By the way, a 30-inch oven is 27 and 3/4 inches wide. You don't want to allow yourself a quarter of an inch, so you can go exactly 30 inches and it'll fit right in there. Did this exact same thing with put an island out there. Wife, guess what? She had to have the dishwasher right in the middle of the floor, right in the middle of this island. Boy, it may look good in a catalog, but I'm going to tell you something. From somebody listening to what they're doing, it's a challenge. Because you got to plan all that crap out. Guess what? I used my app to figure all of that stuff out. What was Lowe's able to do for me? They gave me the information. They had the information. There was actually a dishwasher that we didn't have. Thank you. There was actually a dishwasher that didn't have the information. Guess what? We didn't buy it. We didn't buy it because and I found out their standard anyway. I guess, but I was being angry with it. But anyway, it's all about the information. That's how it's shared. At the end of the day, I bought my appliances from Lowe's because they met the price of the local competitor. But what's the other thing they did? That local guy, he didn't have the information to give me. He didn't have that. Lowe's had it. I had it on my mobile device. So when I got ready to actually do the purchase, I actually went to Lowe's because, doggone it, they kind of helped me get through this whole thing. On my mobile device, and I really never talked to anyone. And so I'm running out of time. Information sharing is a two-way street. So we've talked about that. Search capabilities. Associate just walked in, right on time. So, but Bill, talk about design and build your own taxonomy. Usually, I don't have a lot of time, I have to go, but I just want to mention here on this, your own taxonomy for every company is going to be different. Because the products, the way you market them, is going to be a little bit different. I didn't build this, IT did not build this. We did not design and build our own taxonomy. We went to our product specialists and our outside account managers. We brought them into a room for 2 weeks and we said, you got to design that front page of the website when it comes to your product categories. You got 2 days to do it. Go at it. Don't worry about where the products are going. We'll map that for you, but go do it. They came back with 27 categories. Our goal was for to display products in 2 to 3 clicks. On the iPad or the website, either one doesn't matter. They both the same. So our goal then was to take the USPSC code, which needs to come in the data, which is very important, to take that in, and then we map that to the lowest level within that product category, that taxonomy, and everything can roll in. Works very well. Unilog helped us get there on that, and did a great job of getting us there. Product categories are important. Got to have a very powerful search engine. So you should have talked about that. He had a list of 7 things this morning. One of these, that was one of the 7 right there he mentioned. We didn't have it, and to get it, we was going to spend about $500,000. When we went with Unilog, we got it. One of the reasons we went with it, right there, the powerful search. It's all about the data content. That's what it's all about. Catalog functionality. I rearranged my slide. Y'all heard the term said, but I got it out of images, product descriptions, spec sheets, installation sheets, attributed content. Got to have these things if you're going to sell that product. You know, I went and bought, I just told you what I did with Lowe's. I bought appliances because they had the information. One of the things, installation sheets, I found pretty important too. When I'm on that ceiling grid. And then I'll tell a quick story. So I got my lights in finally from Air Electric. Back over 6 weeks. Got them in. Opened the first one up, and I had an installation sheet. I'm not an electrician. Opened it up. Evidently, the copier had run out of whatever they call it. Yeah. It run out, and you couldn't read the crazy thing. Well, at least I could see the form number on the. I won't mention the supplier, but I could see the form number. You know what? I said out in my pool house, I went to Google. I put in that form number. I searched on Google. Guess what came up? That installation sheet. There again, I used my device. See how important it is? We talked about item availability. We talked about customer prices already. In closing here, it's all about the data content quality. We've got to have good content. We've got to have great quality. Manufacturers who supply quality content to the IDW have an advantage. They really do. They want to have an advantage. Customers who receive IDW content have an advantage. I really believe this. If you, as a customer, as I receive content from the IDW, I'm going to have an advantage because and that's the reason there's such a big push to get manufacturers to get that good quality content because it's what we all need. That's it. Any questions? Well, a couple of minutes here. Yes?
What information besides price and availability that you push out to your customers from your ERP system?
What other information? Well, there's some other initiatives that we're working on. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. There's some things that we're trying to do that try to maybe make us stand out a little different from our competitors. And I'm going to kind of leave it at that, but I know that's not really the answer you want, but there's some things that we're doing that we hope that'll help us stand out just a little bit. So, but think about what look at what your sales guys, as they go through their process of working with that customer and the information they provide them in paper today. Think about what they're providing them in paper and what the customer is asking for. And those are the things you want to get to it. So how about that?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes?
Out of curiosity, what type of content are you having an issue with that delayed your approach?
We didn't have good images. Product descriptions were poor. Attributes were not there. And then we had to go. What took a long time too was the actual mapping of the items at the USPSC code to that lowest level of that taxonomy. But it's that said, it's that those key things. Yes.
What was your target audience for your mobile app?
Mobile app target audience really kind of going at for us was really the small mom and pop contractor, not the big contractor, but that small mom and pop guy that's going to be out there maybe actually out there bidding out there giving a price on a small job, and he can have all the information he needs. to give an accurate quote while he's standing there. So that was kind of, on our mobile app, that was kind of our target audience there. Yes?
Do you have some sort of content management system as you update or change your catalog to make it work real time with the app?
Yeah, what happens on that is kind of, we receive our feed from the IDW, which goes into our ERP system. And then that same feed is fed to the IDW, also goes to SIM2. And then they are updating it there also. And so that's how the synchronization is actually taking place. So we actually maintain that IDW content in our ERP system for internal use, but it's also being fed to them when they are updating it there.
And just to, it is real time. So if you change an item in SIM2 and it goes through a workflow, you publish it, it goes online.
Yes.
Did you go with native or web app?
We went native.
Why did you choose that?
I think, I don't know, I guess we could say, I'd have to get Swami in here, but we kind of went the direction of what Unilog told us at the time. You know,
I think it builds a little bit of customer loyalty, and it's fewer clicks, and there's sufficient metrics to show that if the app's on the phone, that and you keep updating it, you can also get more eyeball tracking when the updates come through on over-the-air updates. So then there's a little bit more traction that you can drive in the other app. You can also send personalized messages from the app, so that someone goes into the app, they can have a message.
Any other questions? I will say one thing I will share that's coming. This is really for manufacturers. You know, this is in the very infant stages here. Maybe I won't get in trouble for making this statement here, but I know that you know, a lot of manufacturers have a lot of apps out there, mobile apps, and you've got to know where they're at. You've got to find them. Greg and I serve on a NAED CIO task force. And one of the things that's being pushed inside of that task force is to have a repository on the NAED website for suppliers to put their apps. So you can go there. Okay. And I know Southwire has some new apps that they're actually developing, and I was talking to your guy that's with you here, Phil. Yeah. I was talking to Phil, and he was sharing with me, and I shared with him, and he said, "Oh, that's great." So already getting interest from Southwire on that. I think manufacturers, you know, it's a great place to go to get that information. I think I got 1 minute. Any other questions? Yes. I think, you know, for your small guy, he's wanting to see his price for a product that we have available. Those are the things he really wants, the basic stuff. The other information is he wants to know for direct ships, he wants to know about back orders and when they're going to be delivered, and what is the supplier saying and what is the transportation company saying it's actually delivered to. So that's very big, and we're working on that. And but that is a big item, because they want to know, they're tired of calling that inside guy to find out when something's going to be delivered.
Thank you very much.